Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Legit Football NFL podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Phillip Fox. I'm joined with me here by my usual Tuesday partner in prime, Jimothy Ray, also known as Himmy Ray. Jimmy, how the H are you?
It's going great, man. I love starting this podcast and I'm already here. Usually I get introduced, but I mean, I'm the co-host / producer right now, so I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if the streets are aware of this, but we are currently down a man. Mr. Anthony Weiner is just too darn successful and popping, so he can't make it for the show. So that's why I'm wearing sunglasses, because I want to make sure people know how much control and power me and Jimmy have. It's off the rails. Like, really, there could not be less of a parental influence here. So
I
the
should have
bad
put on some
boys,
sunglasses, man.
yeah, you screwed this one up.
I have
Jimmy.
transition glasses. I just need to go outside. It will be good.
Dude, just like open your window and then boom, you're good.
I wish that would work
at that point. So folks, I'm gonna take the shades off because as fun as the bit is, it limits my vision a little bit. They're Ray-Bans. They are polarized. Shout out to my pops. He gave me these from Florida. Mr. Jimmy, we got a lot to talk about, but most importantly, we have our legit headlines, which normally there would be a really cool sound effect. It would go something like bow, 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 bow. So that was
perfect.
It was, I would say, maybe even better. Low key in the future, maybe I'll just do that.
Yeah.
So Jimmy, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
We're kicking things off in Indianapolis, a place Jimmy knows well.
What's happening there?
News of
the whale died.
With news of all-pro running back Jonathan Taylor, former 101 fantasy football darling, who is exploring his trade options as per given permission by owner himself, Jim Irsay. And the Dolphins are the number one contender right now. Barry Jackson from the Miami Herald is reporting that the Dolphins will explore trading for the 24-year-old superstar. The Colts have given Taylor permission to communicate with other teams. Miami views Taylor as an elite player who is young enough to justify a possible trade and extension combo. Indianapolis is looking for a first-round pick or a collection of picks that equal a 1. If traded, Taylor expects the acquiring team to sign him to a long-term contract. Taylor would upgrade a Dolphins offense that already includes what is arguably the NFL's best receiver duo in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Now, as the delegator, as the podcaster for the people that I call myself, I am far less qualified, far less inclined to speak on this matter than my Midwestern, or is it Northwestern? Midwestern?
Midwest.
Than my Midwestern brethren, Himothy Ray. So, Himmy, I am passing the baton to you. Please tell me what to make of this story.
Listen, man, when I drafted him in our dynasty, we just had a dynasty draft. When I drafted him, I thought this would fix all the problems. Like he would see that and be like, wow, Jimmy, longtime Colts scout, fan, quarterback, owner, believes in me. I mean, apparently he wants to get paid though. He wants to make bank, which I fully support, but it's one of those things where I'm playing the middle ground, right? I understand the value of running backs.
Yeah.
And I also understand that I want him to get paid. If he got paid, I'd be like, awesome. Heck yeah. That's good for him.
Right.
But as a Colts fan, I'm like, man, is that what we should be spending our money on when we see players like Zeke kind of get the money and then they fall off, which he's still a great running back, but they have a shorter lifespan. But I did draft him in that dynasty league, so I think he has the talent. I do think he ends up playing somewhere. Honestly, my bet is still the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know how it could happen, but it's just the price is too steep.
It kind of feels like one of those, we're not quite far into the point of no return territory just yet, but we're a handful of stones thrown from 2 glass houses where it is too far to come back to. And that's really the situation here. And you laid it out perfectly, because at the end of the day, yes, we're fans and you love the Colts, but we're also analysts. And when we put our analyst caps on and you take the human element out of it, it just is so financially irresponsible to pay running backs.
Right.
So I'm not mad at them for making that choice until we see a collective shift in the market, or a collective shift in the value, or a collective shift in the longevity of the position. I just don't foresee any smart money being spent on running backs.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
heartbreaking,
with
but it's the truth.
yeah, I mean, I see it as like a hey, good luck, like good luck out there. Let's see what you can figure out. That's kind of how I see it. Bet on yourself. Like, hey, we want to open the table. We want to give you that option. Maybe he just has a salty taste in his mouth with the Colts now. But I mean, if he doesn't get paid elsewhere, like what does that make a difference? I mean, we don't know the personal talks that he's had in an RV with Jim Irsay and on the east side of Grand Park at training camp. I was over.
Ludicrous.
I mean, I was over there when I went to training camp last week. I was over there, and I was like, "That's where the RV was. I wish I was here for that." Like that's a momentous spot now.
Yeah.
But we don't know what they talked about. We don't know if there's a sour taste in his mouth with the Colts as a whole. If he's looking to get paid, a mix of everything.
Yeah.
If the relationship's done for, we'll just have to wait and see. But he's a talented guy that would really help Anthony Richardson. So
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement there. I do really hope that it gets worked out there. I don't know if I would hope that as from a money standpoint, but from a fan standpoint, like I've always rooted for Jonathan Taylor. He got drafted in the second round. I thought he should have been a first round pick. That all pro season he had when he just shredded the NFL on fire. Never forget he was in the NFL. He was in the NFL MVP conversation.
yeah,
And for a running back to enter that conversation is, especially in today's NFL, is just breathtaking. He deserves all the credit in the world for what he's accomplished. Last year was disappointing, but name one great running back that doesn't have one season under their belt that's a little bit marred by injury. I don't think you can.
it's tough. It's
You
very
can't.
tough.
It is a very dangerous position. And so a lot of love for Taylor the man, a lot of love for the Colts organization. I'm in agreement with you, Jimmy, that I still think, gun to my head, I would probably say he ends up in Indianapolis and he plays 14 games this year. Do you make anything of
That'd
the
be nice.
reports of the possible back situation? Like, do you think that's a real thing, or is that cap? Is that
I
for
think
the
it's a
kids
real
out there?
thing. I think
Okay,
it's a
I
real
think
thing
so
that
too.
muddies the water 100%. It's like what is that? What's going on there? And I'm sure teams are like asking his agent like, "Hey, what's actually going on here?" And I don't who knows if they're being honest. I don't know if they would leak that, like if other teams would leak that if they found out about it. If it was true or false, I don't think he's making it up. And there's personal issues and stuff that apparently he's been dealing with as well that's made him miss training camp or just not be there to support his team.
Yeah,
And I don't know if I'm just like, I mean, I don't know if I'm gullible, but I just believe it. I mean, with when
yeah.
personal issues arise, I'm like, I don't think people would go that way. Just to miss a training camp that he's not even practicing in, just say back injury still.
It's just difficult. The amount of hullabaloo, right? It always kind of muddies the water a little bit.
Yeah.
It always kind of makes it a little messier. Um, I appreciate you, and I would say don't. I don't think it's naive. I think you're. I mean, as a Colts fan, I think you probably want to believe that
Mm.
it's all legitimate, and I think that there's a higher percentage chance that there's a grade truth between what we're being told and what is happening.
Oh, 100%.
And
Yeah,
I,
it's like the middleman of the media. Like the
yeah,
media
yeah,
middleman is like so weird. Like who's telling them what
yeah,
sources are actually being told? Is it actually like
yeah,
Jim Irsay? Is it Jonathan Taylor,
right,
his agent? I mean, who freaking knows? Like that's
right,
what makes this storyline go forever because nobody
right,
actually knows, and
yep,
they make stuff up with their
yep.
headlines, and
And it
then people are
happens
like, "I believe that. I
everywhere.
believe that." Yeah,
Yeah, it,
we
it
don't know.
happened with the Diggs thing. It was the same exact thing. So I stand with you as a fan. I stand. But as an analyst, as third parties, it's our job to try to make sense of it for the
Right.
good people, the good listeners of Legit. So, let's talk destinations. Is Miami the best landing spot for Jonathan Taylor to demonstrate his value and maybe potentially have that 1,500-yard, 12 touchdown season that would put him back on the map as the RB1 in football, or has that ship sailed? Are we looking at a
That'd
lower
be
ceiling?
That'd be awesome, right? I feel like the
Yeah,
Dolphins are like the prime time spot for
right.
fantasy owners for his productivity. I mean, he'd go in and be the running back one immediately. I know there's like some. I know Devin. I don't know how to pronounce his last name,
Devon
but
A Chain, yeah, I love
Devon
him.
A. Chain. I
Dude,
mean, he's
he was one of my pre-draft darlings. I loved the landing spot. I mean, he's already been carted off the field. That's kind of what people have been
yeah.
saying was durability might be a concern. So, you know, I, I joke about this all the time, but Colonel Mostert, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and Devon A-Chain. It's the backfield of the guy from SpongeBob who has glass bones and paper skin. Like
Yeah, I mean,
that
it's like the
backfield.
49ers, 49ers
Yeah,
group that
and
Mike McDaniel
McDaniel's
had.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
He loves his injury prone, talented, but fragile running backs. And so I mean, hey, JT would fit right in at this rate, right? He would fit right in.
yeah, it would kind of be similar to Christian McCaffrey going to the 49ers, right? I mean, obviously Mike
Yeah.
McDaniels has the 49ers history, and they have, I mean, a lot of those running backs played with the 49ers too, so it wouldn't be that. And then there's a high-powered offense already. Just throwing
Yeah.
in Jonathan Taylor would be elite.
Yeah.
Would they pay? Would they pay that amount? Who knows? I don't think they had a first round pick this past year, so if they wanted to give I don't think a first round pick is in the cards per se. I don't think that'll
Right.
ever happen, but if it does,
Probably not.
Colts fans would be happy. So
Yeah. Oh, and from your from my perspective as an outsider looking in, I would probably be happy with a first as well, as much as it would pain me to lose the All Pro
yeah,
and the stud and the memories and all that. I would probably say that's a pretty good asset allocation. That's a pretty good recouping of assets after you are
hmm
potentially looking at getting nothing in return right now, and not even games played. So at that point, you might as well just cut your losses. But we could talk about it all day because it's an
yeah.
interesting thing. Gun to my head, I would say stays in Indy, but Miami's interesting.
Bears are interesting.
Buffalo's on the list of.
Buffalo is
I don't
interesting
want
too.
him to be a Bill personally because I like what we have. I think James Cook is going to surprise a lot of people. I've
Yeah,
I've actually had multiple people tell me running back was the weakness of the Bills team, and I was like, man, you must not have seen our right tackle or our inside linebacker play. But I digress, Jimmy Ray, because we have more running back news to get to actually
here
out
we
of
go.
Vegas. Josh Jacobs is expected back for week 1. The Las Vegas Review-Journal is reporting that Jacobs will return to the Raiders ahead of the season opener against Denver. Before rejoining the team, Jacobs will have to sign his $10.1 million franchise tender or agree to a modified one-year salary a la Saquon Barkley. In 2022, Jacobs totaled hold your breath for this because this number is just staggering. 2,053 scrimmage yards, 1,653 on the ground, 400 through the air, and 12 tutties on 393 touches last season. Jacobs seems unlikely to see 393 touches again in 2023, as the Raiders would like to get second-year back Zamir White more work. Through 2 preseason games, White has rushed for 83 yards and a tud on 23 carries. Jimmy Ray, we're gonna keep it in the family for you, man. You're the running back guy. You're the stat guy. Make sense of all this Josh Jacobs news to me because I'm kind of at arm's length. Like I'm holding my breath, not just for how impressed I was by his numbers last year, but for how nervous I am to target him in fantasy this year. If
Yeah.
I was a Raiders fan, to trust that he's going to be out there. So try to make sense of all this for me if you can, because I'm at a loss.
Listen, what last year was an outlier. I mean, I'm not saying not gonna have a great season. I'm not saying he's not gonna have a great season or he's not a great quarterback or running back. Sorry, but I mean the numbers he put up, the amount that they rushed him last year was absolutely insane. They plowed him into the ground last year, and he delivered. He was efficient with those carries, but coming into this season, especially without a long term contract, I think he's gonna like say, oh, I have an injury or something if they try to rush him that much again, if that makes sense. So fantasy wise, I wouldn't say like expect last year, but I think he still will be a top running back in the league.
Yeah, his ADP is adjusted a little bit. He's kind of fallen with all the controversy and whatnot. Are you per se targeting Jacobs early, or are you gonna wait to see how far he slides before you pull trigger?
I mean, I definitely pull the trigger. I pulled the trigger on Jonathan Taylor, so I would definitely pull the trigger
Okay,
on Josh
Jimmy
Jacobs
Ray,
at this point.
stamp of approval for both Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor. You heard it here first on Legit Football.
With the value, yeah, with the
Gotta
value.
look for the dip.
Don't grab them.
You
Don't
gotta
grab them
buy the
too
dip.
early. But if they're falling into like the mid fourth round, like you already have 3 studs probably on your team, especially in a redraft league. Just make it happen. It'll be fine.
Jimmy
You got to
Ray
take that risk.
is all of us planning and buying snacks for a party. He has the wavy lays in his bag, and now
Mm-hmm.
he's buying the dip.
Yeah,
French onion.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Queso. I like queso.
oh, dude, good call. Good call.
Yeah. Thank you.
Salsa,
Thank you.
guac, all
Salsa,
fire, all elite.
everything but French onion. No.
Jimmy, here's my thing. about Josh Jacobs, right? I absolutely love the talent, and I always have. First round pick, was left for dead in drafts last year because he took snaps in the Hall of Fame game. Oh my word, the amount of
It's
people who backed off Josh Jacobs last year over the Hall of Fame game.
that was funny.
Cry me a river. This man went out there and had one of the best NFL running back seasons we've seen in recent history. And of course, just doing the thing that is running backs are prone to do these days, which is just, throw fits and hold out and ask for more money and have weird questions surrounding your health. Yeah, Jimmy, I'm inclined to go the way of the NFL GM and the NFL head coach, which is like, hold your breath on running backs until it's a value. Don't panic buy. I have a
Yeah.
lot of friends who are very receiver centric, especially when it comes to fantasy football this year. Specifically my buddy Zach, who works for Matt Harmon's Reception Perception, and this kid will not stop drafting 4 receivers before he even has a running back on his team. And he's sending me all these team builds, and I'm like, you're a little light at running back, brother. And he's like, that's the way of the NFL right now. And so, Jimmy, is that zigging when people are zagging, or are we leaving the position for dead when we shouldn't be?
Well, fantasy wise, I think it's still important to have like one running back like Josh Jacobs can make or break your
You
season.
need like a
But I
workhorse, you think?
but
Like
I
one
do
guy.
also think it's hard to predict, and the landscape at running back this year is so weird to me. Like
Right.
the Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, like how much will they produce? Will they produce like normal, like it didn't happen?
Yeah.
Like it's just like franchise tag, but it's normal still.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, will he play? Derrick Henry, is he gonna fall off? I mean, Najee Harris, people like kind of dogging on him. Travis Etienne, people dogging on him. I'm like,
Literally. It almost
it's
doesn't feel like there are slam dunks this year.
yeah, but there will be, and
There,
that's the
of
thing.
course.
But that's why that guy is like 3, 4 wide receivers, and then find somebody like Damian Pierce in like the fourth, fifth round,
Yeah, exactly.
or J.K. Dobbins, someone who like people are low on, but
Yeah.
there's a good chance they'll pop off because I don't want to be like drafting out Jonathan Taylor and then in the first, and then nobody's
Yeah.
on my team by week 5. You know?
Well, I would say you and I definitely are due for a fantasy episode. So maybe next week, because I think it's going to be draft season all around the world this week and next. These are probably the 2 most
Yeah,
popular weeks for fantasy drafts
absolutely.
in the world. So I would say let's schedule this now ahead of time. Let's make sure we have some time to talk fantasy, because this landscape, Jimmy, is just so murky. I've never seen it murkier. And Jacobs theoretically heading back to Vegas before week 1 and jumping back into the starting lineup would be amazing if you can count on it. It's all just speculation. And so much of that, it kind of stems from sort of the way that in the NBA, the player movement, which I'm here for. I want power to the people. I want power to the players. But I also want to know what's happening with my favorite
Yeah,
players, and I want to know who to target in fantasy. So I personally am thinking maybe lane receiver early, but I say don't not have running back parachutes early and later. Like I would say my goal, okay, Takeo is team trade Jacobs. I can stomach that if Zamir White comes up big, and I mean I think it might be a down year for them
but like
anyway.
who's trading for them?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's
I
the
mean,
that's the thing with the
yeah,
contract and the draft capital. I
you have to
mean,
go fishing. I mean, in the NFL in the past, we've seen teams get desperate. We've seen teams overpay. So
hmm
let's.
but
Oh, like I
but
said,
but but players like Christian McCaffrey, like thinking about that, I think his receiving output like puts him above all else, and that's why the 49ers traded for him
yeah,
specifically because he's not just like
he's such a
the
weapon.
stereotypical running back. And I'm not saying like
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor can't like catch the ball, but
yeah,
Christian McCaffrey catches the ball at a different level, getting 100 catches a
yeah,
season every now and then. So that's tremendously different. He's a playmaker. He's not just a running back. But so
absolutely.
if teams can look at them like that, or if that's the way running backs kind of going, kind of line up in the slot maybe too. Who knows? We could see that.
I like this. I think Takeo wants the Raiders to tank because he wants a first or 2 twos and Caleb Williams, which is just it's a bit rich.
Whoa,
It's a
whoa!
bit rich, but I like where your head's at, Takeo. I like the confidence. I
Throwing
like the
Max Crosby
aggressiveness.
too.
And again, Takeo with another great point. CMC has also hurt 2/3 of his career. Yeah, I mean, every
Played
single
last
player
season,
that
right?
we all love, right? Every single player that we all love. Yeah, every single player that we all love. I'm sorry, I got
You're
swept up
fine.
because they're talking about Taylor now. So I'm like, I don't know if we're on a delay or if they are, but
No, we're good.
we're good. We're rocking and rolling. But all those running backs that are elite and great, none of them are guarantees this year. Who knows?
Yeah, but they're. I mean, no player's a guarantee, but running backs definitely. It's a
Yeah.
bigger deal.
So my
And in
best,
fantasy, I try not to think about like injuries and stuff at the end of
yeah.
the day because like
No, it's hard.
who
Yeah.
knows? I
You
mean,
can't
Christian
predict.
McCaffrey played. I think he played a full season last year. When
Yeah.
people
Close
were
to it.
confused about him. I mean, but who's gonna predict that? Like, hey, you're gonna get hurt the next 2 seasons. Sorry about you. Or you're gonna play the next. I mean, you just got to play the odds, and the running backs don't have great odds.
Right. Which is why I'm comfortable going receiver, maybe taking an early onesie position like a tight end or a quarterback,
Yeah,
and then
Travis
making sure I
Kelce.
don't leave, say, the first 5 or 6 rounds with a stud running back or 2. That's personal philosophy there. Armand is shouting out Cowboys, Seahawks, and Eagles as his top choices for Jonathan Taylor. I think those teams are pretty darn stacked at the position. I get why you would project him there because they all kind of seem to have this greed for running backs. They all seem to have this sort of like, I want to hoard all the best running backs, like collecting them like freaking infinity gauntlets. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that that's
Yeah. And at this
personally.
point I mean, like you said with the Bills, like people are like, oh, they could use a running back, but this far into the like off season, it's hard to like pick up somebody else, even how good they are. But
Yeah,
giving up that much when you're like, I'm ready to go, you're already ready to go.
yeah,
With your guys, whether like James Cook and uh Damian Harris, like nobody's picking them in fantasy, but like one of them maybe is gonna pop off. Maybe James Cook, little baby Cook,
oh yeah,
grows up a little bit and he's teenager Cook by the end of the season and he's
yeah,
balling out in his prime. So uh
yeah.
but
I'm
yeah,
super
those
in on baby Cook / teenage preteen Cook.
I want to see you draft him then. Make it
Oh,
happen.
bro, dude, don't even tempt me.
Third round in our next dynasty
Don't even
draft.
tempt me. I do want to shout out before we get to our last legit headline, which is preceding our phenomenal, exciting main topic today, which is preseason week 2 winners and losers. Legit Football's official Superflex Dynasty League is drafting in 2 hours. So Jimmy and I are going to go very, very stressed out after we get off this podcast. Might in the post chat might hammer out some details for some draft pick trades. We'll have to see. I'm
Yeah, I
offering
know.
next
You
year's
said
second for a 1 this year, or for a. I'm offering next year's first for a 2 this year. Actually, that's the deal. So if you want
What is it?
if you want my first round pick in the rookie draft next year, I'll give you. You give me your 2. We're good.
Oh, that wouldn't happen
That's
in
a
a
horrible
million
deal.
years. Yeah, I
I
wouldn't
hope
even take the third probably.
if anybody,
It's just like one of those things where like you kind of blow up this season, and
right, literally.
I'm not even started drafting yet, so I'm not gonna
If
get a
anyone
first in a rookie
from our
draft. And
league is listening, please stop listening now because I don't want you to
I'm
hear
telling
this.
you, don't trade with Kevin right now. Don't make that trade.
It's a
Don't
bad
give
one.
him a fifth at the most. Come on now.
Exactly. There you go.
I'll
See that I would talk about. I would still talk about that.
be disrespectful with your offers. To
Jimmy,
start.
we have one more legit headline, and I'm comfortable to breeze through it because it's kind of an interesting one, but it's it's one it's my darlings. It's about the Texans. Pierce played. Oh, we're talking about Damian Pierce, by the way. Texans running back Damian Pierce, who is
Yeah,
now
not
set
Alec
for
Pierce,
a
not another
workhorse
Pierce.
role this upcoming season. Pierce played every offensive snap with the first team offense during the Texans' first 2 drives against the Dolphins on Saturday. This is notable as some expected free agent signee, my boy, Devin Motor Singletary, to rotate him with the starting unit. Pierce did not come off the field on third downs, which suggests he could be used as a 3-down back. Pierce only played about 25% of third down snaps last season, in a season in which he totaled 1,100 scrimmage yards, 939 on the ground, 165 through the air, and 5 tutties on 250 touches, which is an average of 4.4 yards per touch. Not bad. The Texans have one of the league's better offensive lines and should have a more balanced scheme with upgrades at quarterback and the coaching staff as well. Jimmy, talk to me about Damian Pierce and a potential workhorse role.
I see him as a workhorse this year for sure. I think Devin Singletary is good, but I mean, I think we saw with the Bills, he's not that guy that you have to worry about in taking carries away from your star running back. And I think Damian Pierce, he's elusive, he's strong, he's going to be that guy. And I think the Texans improved enough to where it'll benefit him as well, like you said, with an offensive line. You got C.J. Stroud there. You got some wide receivers here and there. You got some options out there too, but. In terms of Damian Pierce, I think they'll utilize him. I think this is a. I think they're not bluffing. They're not bluffing at all. So we'll wait and see though. But he's definitely a good value pick in fantasy if we're gonna go that route still.
Yeah, I agree. My thing when it comes to the Texans backfield is, I love Motor, right? I've talked about it a lot on the show.
Yep.
I think he's a really talented player, but he was never the guy. Like even when he was getting the majority of the work, he had stretches, but he was a little inconsistent. Not great as a pass catcher, not super reliable, not great in pass protection. He's going to be a great change of pace for Pierce because he's kind of little and more make you miss in a phone booth kind of player. Whereas a lot of Damian Pierce's yardage and a lot of his value will come from his bruiser, hard hitting, run you over mentality. Damian Pierce he's got that dog in him, no question. So I love the idea of him as a workhorse, and I've loved the Motor signing for the Texans more so as a depth piece and as a change of pace piece. I kind of always wanted Pierce to be the one, and I think it's no longer looking like a 1A, 1B situation, Jimmy. I'm starting to think it might be a 1-2 situation. And, I think that as much as it bums me out as a homer, as a Bills, I do have a lot of love for Motor. I think it might be what's best for the Texans and establishing rhythm. And guys like Pierce need 20 to 25 touches a game to establish that, wearing down the defense, running people over, the players like that, the Derrick Henrys of the world, the Nick Chubbs of the world, they get better the more they touch the ball. So I'm not at all angry at this. And I hope this is what ends up happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for Damian Pierce as a whole. Who knows? I might take him in this dynasty draft. I might snipe him from you. We'll
You
wait
need to
and see.
chill
But
out.
yeah,
Jimmy is
I know.
really intimidating me on the show. And I hope you guys are
I
seeing my
know.
mental toughness. I'm withstanding the abuse, and I'm coming back with more charm and charisma than ever before.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a week-long draft, so you'll be thinking about me this whole week. You'll be like, "What is Jimmy thinking right now?" Send
I
me some trades, see
could
what
not
happens.
imagine a better week for me than one where you never leave my mind.
Man, I'm gonna
We have
cry right now.
Takeo shouting out Tank Dell, suggesting that Tank Dell will have 10 touchdowns. I'll take the under as a
I'll take
betting
the
man.
under with a rookie quarterback.
Might have
That'll be very tough, but
I'm
he looks
might
great
have
right now.
6. Might have 6. But what some wide receivers you got? A top 10 rookie wide receiver in Tank. Oh, I think he's talking about the Texans in
Yeah, because
general.
I said there's some wide receivers on that team. Nobody that stands out, but I mean, there's John Mechie too over there.
Love Mechie. Love
Yeah,
Nico Collins. I love Bobby Trees, but they're all 2s and 3s. I don't think they have a true 1.
Robert Woods too.
Yeah, love Bobby Trees, man. He's good. But Jimmy Ray.
Yeah,
Anything more on the Texans or the running backs before we move on?
let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Legit Football's
Main topic.
Let's go, Jimmy. That was way
Was that what
better
you were
than
looking for?
you knew it. You read my freaking brain.
There we go. There we go.
We have preseason week 2 winners and losers. Now, I was nice during the intro, and I was nice on last week's show. I let Jimmy go first. I let Jimmy take all the, I was teeing up questions. I was
Uh-oh.
teeing up this, that, and the third. I'm jumping
You
in.
called me out, man. You called
I
me out.
called him out on Twitter. I needed those streets to know because this man read my mind last week.
You
So
just
I'm
wanted
gonna.
the NFL stats interactions, man. I
Oh,
get that.
that was all it was.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
wanted
really.
that promo. Yeah.
I was NFL stats on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't already know, Jimmy Ray is Twitter famous.
Something like that.
So if you didn't already know, and yeah, I did. I called you out. I wanted to start a beef with you, for my own street cred, and it didn't work. It failed miserably. The streets all sided with Jimmy, and I've been
My gang's not too tough though, so they won't
I've been
jump on you too hard. They're all
banished.
pretty respectable.
What do we have here from Takeo? Children of all ages. Legit Football proudly presents the next Thursday night commutators, LMAO JK.
I don't like to commute, but I'll do it for Takeo.
Oh, also, speaking of commute, Jimmy Ray and I will be making an in-person connection for the first time in the history of our friendship, and I can't be more excited about it, Jimmy.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to see that I'm 6'5".
You think I didn't already know that? You think I didn't already know that?
I'm not gonna stand up right now to prove it to you. I'll just wait until you see me in person. But
I'll just trust you. Yeah, I'll just be looking around, and if I don't see you, then I will leave you wherever you are.
Just know you can't guard me.
That's
all you need to know.
Wouldn't even try.
Absolutely.
You guys got the fastest feet in the game. I'm starting us off, and I'm going with the one that should be obvious to everybody, and that's Commanders quarterback Sam Howell. This man has
He's
been
all right.
very, very sharp in the first 2 preseason games. As sharp as to get, people to joke around and say maybe Eric Bieniemy was the key to Patrick Mahomes' success. Maybe Sam Howell is sipping on that Mahomes juice, and maybe he'll be coming out here and taking over the Commander's job in a more commanding, pun intended, way than we all thought.
Wow,
Because
that was really good.
I would say he has a commanding lead for the starting job over Jacoby Brissett. And with those receivers, Jimmy, with Terry McLaurin, with Jahan Dodson, I've always loved Antonio Gibson. Brian Robinson's a nice player. Logan Thomas, nice little depth piece at tight end. Jimmy, I think we are in for a hell of a season when it comes to the Sam Howell love and narrative. What are your thoughts?
Man, it was a really fun game to watch last night. I had my eyes kind of glued to the TV for the first time, like really in this preseason, like NFL, like real NFL football is gonna be back soon. Like as much as I love the preseason, but like last night I was like, oh, I'm getting the chills. Like Sam
Yep.
Howell in that first half,
Yep.
he looked comfortable, man. The
Yeah.
commentators kept saying it too. He looked comfortable in the pocket. He was making his reads. Like the offensive line too. Shout out to them. They were playing lights out too because he had a lot of time back there.
Hell yeah.
But I don't think that would have stopped him regardless. I think he would have shaken off everybody, made some moves. But the guy did very good, and I think everybody would be like, "Oh, he's playing against the twos and stuff." I don't really care. He's playing against NFL players. A lot of those guys will see snaps this season, anyways. At some point, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're playing against, like, if you're beating up the backups, what's next? Get out there and see what happens.
I think you and I are smart enough to know, and I'm trusting our listeners to be smart enough to know that preseason should always be taken with a grain of salt. We're analyzing what we can, and this is an NFL news-based show and a show based on analyzing what we've seen in the NFL, and that's what we have. So for people to disregard things due to preseason, okay, tough guy. I know it's preseason. I know
Look
it's
at
not.
you.
It doesn't count. You're you're better than me. I'm just kidding. I'm one of those people. But no, we do have to talk about it regardless because it's the tea leaves, man. Like, where else do you glean things from at this time of year than what we're given, right? The teams play the teams that are in front of them, and legit football analyzes the football that's in front of them, and this is what we have. So, Jimmy Ray, did I steal one from you or no?
Yeah, of course. Sam Howell was on there.
I was really
Yeah,
hoping I stole one
absolutely.
from you to get you
Yeah.
back for last week.
That was a good 1-1.
Thank you. No, he legit looked like when a person shines bright for one preseason game and can't produce in real-time games. I'd love to know based on what? I'd love to know what makes you think that he won't shine.
Let's just sit here and wait for a second.
Yeah, should we? How about we wait?
Podcasting.
How about we wait until week 1? Why don't we sit here until week 1 and we'll see? Because no, Takedo, I get where you're coming from. It happens all the time. I'll never forget the summer of Nathan Peterman when after his 5-pick game when everybody told me he was going to start over Josh, and that lasted a quarter and a half. Josh Allen was in that game in the second quarter. Sipping on gin and juice, Armand. I don't know if he's singing or if that's
sipping on gin and juice. Don't
or
get
if
copyrighted. Be careful.
Or if that's if he's actually just drinking gin right now and just letting us know.
But anyways, Sam Howell. I mean, I think at this point, I feel like it's just the fact that the Commanders, I think, made the right decision, giving them a chance. I think he's proving that in the preseason that he deserves a chance, and that's all you can give because once you get in there, you have a limited opportunities to kind of see what happens. But
absolutely, Jimmy, hit me with your first preseason winner.
We'll go to kind of Army style here. Let's go Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby's that guy. He's getting people worried about Travis Etienne, which I mean goes to show that he's bigger than Travis Etienne, but I'm not too worried about Travis. But I think Tank Bigsby's proven himself as one of those running backs that could get a lot of opportunity this season, and I mean maybe could do what Travis did to James Robinson. Who freaking knows? But that's probably why everybody's worried at this point because the Jaguars have that history. But that was a little different with Urban Meyer drafting. I guess Urban Meyer drafted Travis Etienne too, I believe. Round, with that injury. So but
I like the
this
pick.
Is their guy. So
Bigsby does look good. He looks fantastic. I tend to encourage people not to be too scared off ETN. I feel
Yeah.
like when there's this much buzz around a backup, it usually results in a fever pitch around this time when the backups get those chances to shine. And it's great to see, right? Like you'd rather have your backup running back be great than not, right? And of course, his role will expand
Absolutely.
across the season. We talked about that's actually a legit headline from today. So, quick plug: if you're not already subscribed to the Legit Football NFL newsletter, you're doing it wrong. You should be legitfootball.com. Subscribe, and you'll already have known about Tank Bigsby because yeah, he was in the newsletter today, and I agree, he's a stud player, but ETN is still has that first round pedigree. He had a big role last year. He was a relatively decent run. Like he had good fantasy numbers. I think he might have been an RB2 last year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
smelling RB1. And I think he should be in a similar range this year. Bigsby will, I think, naturally gain some work, some pass catching work, some goal line work. Sure. I don't think he'll completely cripple ETN's value. And again, I might be buying some wavy lays and buying the dip when it comes to Travis Etienne because I love Bigsby as well. Jimmy, I think that's a great pick.
Hmm.
He is definitely a preseason winner, but let's pump the brakes on the ETN
Yeah.
panic.
I
Do you
think I'm
agree?
more. Yeah, a little bit. I think I'm more excited for Tank than maybe you are, and I think I'm a little more down on ETN than you are. But I
Okay.
still, I mean, I would still draft both with right opportunity
Yeah, it's
in
all about
fantasy
cost.
drafts because I think at the end of the day I'm excited for this Jaguars offense, even though I'm an AFC South guy. That they have a lot of skill players, and I think there could be room for both of them if they play it right. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, Tank Bigsby playing well deserves the opportunity to shine a little bit, see what he can do with those reps. So
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal pick, man. I think you absolutely nailed it. Um, good sir. If I had to pick why don't you start us off with losers and then I'll jump in with my loser after you. Why don't you do a
see if I
twofer
can
there?
take your guy, Matt Barkley. I mean, that's not good, right?
Why'd you bring him
How
up
you feel it? I
now?
mean, I just wanted to bring him up. I didn't know if you would have the guts to do it, so I just wanted to be that
Ah,
guy.
remember when I said I
Uh,
was the guy who explained away the preseason?
yeah.
I'm gonna do
You
that
want to
right
do
now.
you to do
No,
that
I'm
right
just
now?
kidding. I'm just
You can
kidding.
explain away 3
No,
interceptions and 12
te-
attempts and a
te-
fumble too.
yeah, I was gonna say, tell us why you're his loser, or why he's your
I
loser,
mean,
but it kind of
that's it. Yeah, I mean, what I
speaks
mean,
for itself.
that's a 25% interception rate right there. That's not ideal,
Yeah,
but
that whole game. I don't know if you watched it, but it was kind of like a flush the footage kind of game.
yeah,
Nobody got off the bus. I'm glad you brought it up because I probably would have called the Bills in general my a loser for week 2, but I mean, it's a perspective loser, right? Like, I mean, the needle didn't really move as far as like what we know about the offense, what we know about the
right.
new position players. But Barkley, of the batch of losers, was probably the biggest one with the interception rate, the horrible stats. Um, he was gaining a lot of momentum in the QB2 conversation when it came to him or Kyle Allen. And first game, Kyle Allen had a horrendous game, but in the second game, Matt Barkley had a horrendous game, and Kyle Allen actually had a good game. So, glad you bring it
So
up.
we're doing
Not
yeah,
really.
we're games off. That's what the
Um,
preseason's for.
yeah, I'm glad you bring it up, but not really because it was disgusting. But
We can move on. We can move on.
thank you. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I mean, it's our job. We got to talk about it. I'm, I'm only gonna cry a little bit, but let's talk. Let's stay in the same fire there. Let's stay out in Pittsburgh where that preseason game took place. And I'm gonna call a loser, and it's through no fault of his own. I'm gonna call Najee Harris a loser
Oh wow.
because Jimmy, how darn good does Jalen Warren look?
He looks like fun.
He looks good, man. He's a great pass catching back, great third down back. Absolutely cooked one of the best defenses in DVOA last year, the Bills defense, for a 62-yard touchdown. He made all pros Jordan Poyer and Matt Milano look stupid on that run. I think he's going to take a lot more work from Najee Harris than people are willing to let on right now.
Yeah, weirdly enough, the lady who cuts my hair said she like knew him somehow or knew the guy that like helps train him. Like
Jimmy
this
Ray,
was like a
personal
year. This
connection.
was like a couple years ago, and I was like, Jalen Warren, we'll see what he's about in Pittsburgh, and now he's showing up, showing out. So every time I see his name, I do think of that,
That's
and I
so
think of
funny.
so. I think next time I get my haircut, I might like ask him for draft advice and kind of see who the next dog is coming out of college.
See
But
if she has any
uh,
insight on on Jalen Warren's status as the Steelers
yeah,
RB
absolutely. I'm
RB2
like, hey,
RB.
what you got? Let's get him on legit football. Let's talk to him a little bit.
But he's a
Let's
late round buy. Yes,
yeah,
in
I
fantasy
believe
for
so.
sure, right? He's
Yeah.
got to be. And Najee, if you're looking for a workhorse, I think that true workhorse potential is maybe diminishing a little bit before our eyes.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far quite yet, but I think with running backs, you never really know. That's the thing.
Right.
Like we talk about running backs, and
It's the same with
it's
ETN
like
and Bigsby, right? It's very similar.
yeah, but I think Najee Harris is tough.
He's great.
I think they'll still give him a lot, but if they're
Yeah.
ready to give Jalen Ward a little more than what they have been, I think fans and like myself included, we're ready for that. And if he
Yeah.
produces, it doesn't hurt to get your running back off the field a little more, your top dog. And that's why fantasy owners hate this because
Right.
it's better to not run them into the ground
Yeah.
because they'll like you for it, uh, and the long term effect will be thankful for you as well. So
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So Najee Harris, through no fault of his own, is my first preseason loser. Jimmy Ray, let's get a preseason winner for you.
preseason winner. How about Skylar Thompson? He balled out last. He balled out last preseason too. You was
I'm
he one
so
of your
here for
guys
this.
too? I
No,
mean
I
he
actually didn't think about it, but it's a great point.
he's played this past year. He balled out in last preseason. He I mean I know they have Mike White there right now, but a few touchdowns, 15 for 22, 157 yards, a few tuds. You just don't see that in a preseason game,
No,
man. You just don't see
no.
that in a preseason game because you don't get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
But Skylar Thompson, he's that preseason god, and he's had a couple starts in the regular season, I believe, but he's still he's deserving of a roster spot at the very least.
Yeah.
And with the quarterback situation in Miami, who knows? But he's a good guy to have on your roster.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I had a great conversation with somebody at the Fantasy Football Expo. I don't remember who it was, but Jimmy, I can't be alone in thinking that he should be Miami's backup. No,
I would agree with that.
I
Yeah, I
I
mean, he's
saw
deserving of it.
he dueled Josh Allen to the last breath.
Yeah,
Kyer Elam
some say
doesn't.
he's better.
This guy, man. Hey, by the way, Legit Football is a comedy podcast now. Thank you for subscribing. We tell jokes. Mostly Jimmy, actually.
Cue the laugh track, Anthony.
Jimmy's just Jimmy's takes in general. No, that take. But I like Skylar Thompson. He balled out in the playoffs last year, man. He showed grit. And this preseason, and just like last preseason, he's got that dog in him. And I love Mike White. I think Mike White would be a top 10 backup in the league. But Skylar Thompson might be better. He might be a better backup quarterback. No?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sky high on Skylar Thompson. If we're just going comedy wise, I'm just you said comedy podcast, I'm going for it now.
Is there I don't know how to do this, but can I kick Jimmy Ray out and just do this rest of the show myself?
Yeah,
Or
here, I got you.
thank you. There he goes. Goodbye, Jimmy Ray. You're
I'm
listening to
back.
legit. Oh, he's back. Damn. Okay.
I'm
I
back.
really thought.
See, don't worry. Who needs a producer? I'm just kidding, Anthony.
That's
I
a
love you.
great pick, Jimmy. Let's really quick give a quick shout to our chat here. The Goats, Armand, and Takado. Armand does not drink liquor. We shout you out for that. Sober King. I'm sober myself.
Gin is liquor.
More than 2 years. I think well, we've established he was singing, Jimmy.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We have Mekhi Becton being a winner. Yeah. I mean, if they could salvage that draft pick and turn him into a starter, that would be beautiful. Mad money, sell. Takeda wants to disown Barkley from the Trojans. I don't appreciate that. He has had a good run as a backup and third string quarterback. Takeda thinks the Lions are going to win week 1. Have fun picking them. Maybe
Lions over Chiefs. That's crazy.
With the spread, maybe. I'm not touching the money line there.
I'll touch it.
Jimmy left like Russell Wilson, danger witch, LOL. Yeah, we got some great energy in the chat from Takeda and Armand. I'd be remiss not to shout out how awesome those boys are, holding it down. Jimmy Ray, is it time?
Yes.
Am I due for a preseason winner?
You're due for a preseason winner, man.
I think. How about Packers quarterback Jordan Love? How
Let's talk
about the
about him.
consistency that Jordan Love has demonstrated in the first 2 preseason games? He's completing a nice clip. He's being pretty careful with the football. I love to see that even though he's played in the first 2 games and he's the established starter and they picked up the 5th-year option, I love to see, Jimmy, that they're putting him out there for the 3rd preseason game. So that's some insider information. Legit Football dropped that in today's newsletter. So if you didn't already know or didn't already hear, Jordan, no glove, no love, straight out of UCLA. Takeo is just so on fire in the chat right now. I think I might need to cool him down a little bit. Like it's already hot in LA. There's a heat wave post hurricane. So Takeo, chill out.
An earthquake.
Bring some ice, please. Bring some cold hard facts. We've had it with the hot takes. I need some cold hard facts. But
yeah,
Jordan Love looks
Jordan
good,
Love should
right?
he should be making the NFC North a little nervous, with the Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not saying he's going to be that guy, but
he's
row? Playing pretty well. He's had a lot of time to prep for this moment, so he better bring it. That's what that time is for, and people talk about it all the time, like, hey, sit your rookie running quarterback, and that's not happening this year, but Jordan Love is going to kind of be the guy who differentiates himself from all the rookie quarterbacks this year because he's had time to prep and be ready for this moment. So we could be going one way or the other in terms of that situation. And if you sit your rookie quarterback, depends on the situation, or if you should just play them. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on, Mr. Ray.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant analysis as always. Jordan Love, Takeo predicts 8 wins for Jordan Love. Not crazy, but not.
How many games will the Packers win if Jordan Love wins 8? Is it a team stat? I don't know.
This guy, I swear, I've missed the laughing track so badly today.
Yeah.
So yeah, because wins are not a quarterback stat. Thank you, NFL stats.
You're welcome.
My nemesis, according to Twitter. But we are on fire right now with winners and losers. Adrian would be so happy to hear us shout out Jordan Love right now. Shout out to the man down under. We miss you. We can't wait to see your beautiful face on Thursday on this show. I'm kicking him out of my chair though, Jimmy. He's hosted the last couple, and
oh no,
I'm kicking him out of my chair. Yeah, I don't, I can't let anybody else get too comfortable in that seat. I'm keeping that seat warm for McFadden. So let's be real here. Yeah, hopefully he's not listening. Adrian, if you're listening,
hopefully not.
Don't draft Jordan Love in the first round, please, in tonight's draft. Jimmy, are you due for a loser now? Correct.
I'm due for a loser now.
Give me a loser.
I'll go a little different. Quan Alexander, did you see that hit he had?
I didn't. What happened?
That he had a hit. I forget who was on, but it was just a simple sack. Yeah. And people are roasting the NFL because they fined him like $43,000.
Wow.
And I mean that's like 20 times the money you'd probably make in a preseason game. So I just wanted to say that's a big
insane.
I mean I think that's a loser in my book at that point. Quan Alexander, that's a tough scene.
Yeah, no, it really is.
He's appealing it, so
yeah, I would definitely be a bit hesitant to ever play NFL football because of how many rules there are now about, well, I mean, they're not really knocking down my door exactly, Jimmy, but just the form tackles, the fines, how you hit the quarterback, to turn your helmet, the this, that, and the other, man. It's so complicated and so unfair and for no reason.
Yeah, it was on Chase Edmonds, and the way he kind of went, he didn't hit his head. He didn't even hit that hard. It was just kind of like maybe he led with the crown a little bit, but like when you're watching it like full blast, like I just don't see, especially that amount. I think that amount's crazy. Like if you just want to find him like a couple K, but it's hard enough for players to make tackles and stuff that it's just unfortunate, but a little different loser in my opinion. But I think that's that's a financial loss right there. So it's the definition of it.
Yeah. No, that is absolutely not ideal. I'll hit you with a sidewinder for my next preseason loser. I'm going to go with the running backs who are trying to get paid. Because look at how dominant some of these rookies. Tyjae Spears is looking good. No ACL, running for touchdowns. Kendry Miller looking damn good in New Orleans, right? Jimmy,
And
Bijan
Kamara is
Robinson
gone for a few
on his
games.
first touch, 20 yards and a first? Bro, the amount of guys, Damian Pierce was drafted in the third or fourth round or something?
Yeah.
The amount of guys, Pacheco is holding it down in KC. Baby Cook looks really sharp in Buffalo. The Bills got Latavius Murray off the street and Damian Harris for 1.7 mil, bro. Come on. These running backs trying to get paid. Keyshawn Vaughn was unreal. He's been unreal in the preseason so far. So my loser is also unconventional. Yours was unconventional he's the literal big loser because there's a lot of money leaving his bank account. I'm talking about a positional group who almost is devaluing itself at this point because
Yeah, in
these
terms of,
players,
the
these
narrative this preseason has been crazy.
and it's
With
losing steam because of how dominant these new guys are, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And it's great to watch as a fan because you want the new guard, you want the new blood to come in, but I don't want it to be the case if it's always going to be recycled every 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Where's the fun in that?
It's not that fun. That's why
Man,
I don't always get into college football as much. I love watching it, but in terms of like player names and stuff like that, I know the big names. But I mean, the people go in and out all the time. There's a big turnover rate in college sports in general. That's just the way it is. So it's
yeah, it's hard
tough.
for me to get into it for that reason.
But with running backs right now, my guy. What's his name? I don't know. There's been a lot of running backs and stuff in the past that have just gone off the rails rather quickly. Todd Gurley is who I was thinking of.
So sad.
Just a few years ago, he was like the running back one, and now he's just
And
gone.
it's
So,
always
like,
the cliff, right? Like Kellerman talked about the quarterback cliff. The running back cliff is the worst cliff. It's the steepest cliff. And sometimes you can't even see it coming.
Yeah.
And it's so heartbreaking. And I think, unfortunately, the running backs who are desperate to get paid are being made bad examples out of by Tyjae Spears and Kendry Miller and Keyshawn Vaughn and Damian Pierce and Isaiah Pacheco and James Cook and XYZ, this, that, and the third, Jimmy. Do you feel me?
Yeah, I understand.
Oh,
Absolutely.
sad. I have one more
We'll be
preseason
okay.
winner, and I think I might be directly jacking your swag. I actually have a couple that I can throw out, but only because I follow NFL stats on Twitter.
Don't do that to me, man.
I'm
Stop
gonna
it.
do it. No, I'm gonna
Don't
do
do
it.
it. Don't do
Okay,
it
I
to me.
won't do it. I'll leave
No,
one
do
of
it. Do it.
them.
Do it.
No,
Do
I'm
it.
gonna
Do
leave
it.
one of them for you, and I'm gonna take one. I
No,
don't
do
remember.
whatever. I got plenty. Make it
How
happen.
about the job that Raiders backup quarterback Aiden O'Connell is doing?
Oh yeah,
He
he
winning
looks.
himself some future opportunities right now.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Derek Carr too.
Yeah,
So
right?
that's pretty fun.
Yeah,
But yeah,
right?
he's
They
playing
they
pretty
just
well.
always have handsome quarterbacks. I don't know what it is. They must subscribe to like the Colin Cowherd, your quarterback has to be handsome theory.
Yeah,
Because Derek
it
Carr,
makes.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell, it's
You
kind
see
of
his mustache though?
is it bad?
It's something, man. It's something. Every time I see him, I'm like, that's just. I can't stop staring at it. It's
I like that.
it's something else, but it makes him unique, and I think a mustache really helps a quarterback
Oh
like
no.
bring out his
I don't think
best.
Takedo
Oh,
is happy that we're giving his team some love. I'm sorry, Takedo.
hey, it's a backup quarterback, man. You're fine.
I'll take him in
You're
Buffalo.
good.
You want Kyle Allen and Matt Barkley? I'll give you both. You give us Aiden O'Connell. How's that sound?
Sounds like a good deal. And throw in Jimmy G too. If you're looking to tank, who knows?
I love Jimmy G, man.
The
I think
Raiders are going to be so weird this year.
they're going to be so weird. And Josh McDaniels is just the perfect man for the weirdest NFL team. I mean, Josh Jacobs coming back, Devontae Adams. I mean, they have the makings of a team that could be great, right? But they probably won't be.
Sneaky bad team. And I don't think it's sneaky for Takeda, but
I agree.
For the NFL and like the people as a whole, I think they're sneaky bad. Sneaky bad. They're sliding, and I hope that makes you happy, Takeda.
There's not a ton of roster depth, you know. Like they got to build up the depth a little bit, you know. They're a little top heavy right now. Devontae Jacobs, you know, Max Crosby, but there's a huge fall off in the talent.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because he told me not to hype up his team. I'm saying, free sodas, man. What kind do you need?
You'll give us soda for Aiden O'Connell? Deal.
Coke Zero, not a sponsor, but
paperwork's already been filed. My people are going to call your people. Jimmy, you have one more preseason winner.
Okay, I think I can do something like that. What about Darius Fountain?
Darius Fountain. Tell me why.
Darius Fountain. Have you heard of him? My guy? Bears wide receiver. He was on the Colts for a little bit, but he had a nice little outing. 5 catches, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, as a whole, the Bears
Was
kind
that
of
with
wide
all with the
receiving
second
core.
team or third team?
I believe so. I believe it was all second team because the Bears did not play any starters this week like the
How
Colts.
likely is this team to take Claypool out?
I don't think it's quite there yet, but I think Doris is just trying to secure a roster spot right now. But
Okay.
I don't think he'll make it in the top 3. He was kind of in like the lower end for the Colts, but he had some good moments. But unfortunately, like injuries and stuff prevailed, and we had to let him go. But if he can come in and kind of ball out, Reese Fountain, he's a guy to kind of just watch if he can make plays like that. 5 catches, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean,
I love that. Yeah,
that's
those are
that's
some
pretty good.
solid numbers.
So in the preseason, yeah.
And
So
and I'll just jump in and say, like, I think we can get into rapid fire territory if you're about ready for that.
yeah, and I'll let you start with rapid fire
Well, the
because I
rapid
took
fire.
all your.
Am I stealing your? Am I stealing your thunder with Kayshawn Booty?
No, you're not. Talk about him.
Kayshawn Booty, former first overall pick talk, first round pick conversation last year, had a huge draft fall off, was almost left for dead after the combine. Was he drafted in the 4th round, Jimmy? 5th?
I believe so.
He fell,
4th,
man.
5th.
He fell.
Yeah.
And now he's a Patriot, and he had a really, really nice touchdown grab this preseason. So I think Kayshawn Booty is somebody who we should be taking a second look at. I don't know if I think he'll make the team.
Yeah.
And I think because the receivers have the Patriots have such a void of talent at top end receiver, I think there's some room for him to sort of shoot up that depth chart, man. I mean, Juju's great. Kendrick Bourne's great. Who else did they just sign? They signed another receiver this offseason. They have Devontae Parker, right?
Yeah, Devontae Parker, Juju,
Devontae Parker, Juju, Kendrick
Tyquan
Bourne.
Thornton.
I mean, Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah.
Booty. I mean, there's a realistic path for him to real playing time this year.
Yeah, I could see it.
So I think he's a winner. Give me a rapid fire.
Deuce Vaughn. I mean, we've talked about him before. He's a small
Stud.
little guy, but
He's making those running
he's
backs
fun to watch. And
so
someone,
fun to watch.
I think someone replied to me one time. He's like, he's just flowing with the game, and he loves to watch. He's like just flowing like water, you know.
Yeah.
Like whatever the way's going, he has a low center of gravity, so he can kind of move with how the play's going rather quickly and quicker than everybody else. So will that be beneficial to him as he gets some reps? I don't know, but his size is what the whole talk is, but. Who knows? Maybe this is a new step in the direction for running backs, just avoiding people like water.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that. Be water
sense,
at the running back position. No, it's a
be
beautiful metaphor.
water. Be fluid.
Be water.
Make things
Period.
happen.
In life. Be flexible. Life is weird and complicated. Always be ready to adjust.
Yeah. Be wet.
Be wet. The best advice from Jenny Ray. This is a family show, so we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about water, dude.
Talking about literally water. I'm saying, dude, get your mind out of the gutter, Jimmy. You're
come
gross.
on now.
Do you have any more rapid fire? I got a couple more.
Oh, yeah, I can go another one.
I like wide receiver Calvin Austin for the Steelers a lot.
Okay, I didn't have him, so
I think he absolutely can create a path for him to be a contributor to the Steelers. He's been looking good. Who's the guy? There's a guy on the Packers who's been balling out. Calvin Watkins is his name.
I believe so.
Let me actually look that up because there's a guy on the Packers who's just like putting up just gaudy numbers.
Yeah, Will Anderson showing why the Texans moved up a little bit, so that was kind of cool. I think you should guard Will Anderson. Honestly, I think you should try to block him if you can. Just telling NFL defenses now. I don't know if you've thought about it in your scouting prep, but Will Anderson, put a couple guys on him just in case. You know, you never know if he gets back somebody. Christian Watkins. Christian Watson? You talking about Christian Watson?
No, was it? I think
of somebody else.
There was a player, like a stud receiver down the depth chart that was balling. Well, I mean, I love Chris. Is it Christian Watkins? Do they have two guys that are both named Christian and Watt?
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, right. Who's Christian Watt? That might be. What I'm thinking
this is your guy right now.
I know. It's my guy, and I'm fumbling the bag. But I remember seeing something on Twitter about it. We'll figure it out, Jimmy.
Jaden Reed.
Love Jaden Reed. Such a dog.
Dontavian Wicks.
Dude, loser.
Samori Torre.
Dallas Cowboys depth at linebacker because overshown tore his ACL and is out for the season. Hate to see that.
Mm,
Rookie trending towards maybe earning some
yeah.
playing time. Winner, Dalton Kincaid, heavily targeted in the Bills loss to the Steelers.
The Steelers offensive. I have an offensive stat I found. I forget which website it was, but are you
Shoot.
ready for this?
Yeah.
They have 4 touchdowns of at least 25 plus yards in the preseason this month.
Oh my
That
goodness.
that's 3 more than they logged in the entire regular season of last year. So
Let's give
that's
I
I
mean,
mean, I
I
think
think in the
I'm
preseason, if you get past the second level, guys aren't really working that hard to catch you.
yeah, I saw that yesterday, and they're like, the commentator was like, "And are they gonna get him? They're gonna go after him." And I was like, "Yeah, they're just. I mean, you're not gonna hurt yourself too much, but you got to show it on tape if you're
You
working for a
do. You're
job.
right. And
You
that's
got to
what's
put in that
beautiful about
work,
the preseason is the effort that you see from the guys who are fighting to make the teams. And that's why we don't explain away the preseason as
right?
meaningless football, even though we all know respectfully that it is. Jimmy, hit me with
Yeah.
your rapid fires.
So I have Desmond Ritter played pretty well.
Mm,
So I know I've talked down on him a lot, but I just want to give a shout out to him.
love it.
Jahan Dotson, I think he could be really
He is
good, and
a
he played well with Sam
menace.
Howell last night. Uh, Jordan Love, you already talked about. Losers, Marcus Mariota didn't play the best.
No, dude,
So that's
he
kind of
might
tough.
actually just be done. His goose just might
Yeah,
be
I've
cooked.
always been down on him as an AFC South guy. I was like, come on, man, the Titans. I've always been down on the Titans,
He was
but
good
yeah,
on the
it might
Titans,
be
man.
his time.
He had a
Yeah,
nice
he
stretch for a
was
couple years. I liked him a lot. When he went to the Raiders, I thought he might compete with Carr to start, and then he was
right.
horrible
He
that
did
year.
not do that.
Went
Well,
and got
he
one
had
more
a
starting
game or
job.
two with the
Yeah,
Raiders. Yeah, so
yeah, but I mean, as the QB2 though, I mean, like
it's been
he
like a
didn't earn
steady
it.
decline for
Yeah,
him. Like
he's
he wasn't even that high with the Titans to begin with, and now it's like, ooh, but
I guess
like
just athletic upside is really all he has left.
yeah.
He's not much of a QB.
Stick with Commanders. We talked a lot about them. Terry McLaurin, he got a toe injury. So I mean that's tough. People are like,
I
why is
heard
he
the
still in
X-rays
the
were negative.
game?
Heard the
Yeah,
X-rays were negative.
He's good. So thankful for that. But like, be careful, people. Don't hurt
It's
your toe.
preseason.
Don't stab your toe into the ground. Don't get stepped on. Don't run into the bedside.
Yeah.
Just be careful, Terry.
Dude,
Come on, man.
did you happen to see the play in the Bills preseason game when Deion Dawkins was absolutely smoked by TJ Watt and then Josh was running around for dear life? I
No.
literally was screaming at my TV, Josh, it's the preseason. Josh, slide. What are you doing? He was running around trying to
Yeah.
make guys miss. Like he crossed line of scrimmage, ran back behind the line of scrimmage. I was like, just slide. Just freaking slide. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So
Deion
horrible.
Dawkins, I listened to a podcast with him, pardon my take.
He was
He's
crazy on that.
hilarious,
He's so
dude.
funny, but this
He's
is a
so
family show.
funny.
If you're over 18, go listen to Deion Dawkins' Pardon My Take appearance. But if you're
Maybe
not,
21, dude. Maybe
he
21.
reckless. It was so entertaining
Yeah.
though. But I was like, yo, this guy. I think he has a future in comedy. I really do.
Yeah, I could see that.
It was that level of.
He's got a fun, like, no filter attitude. I was
He
like,
just
whoa,
took
what's going
the
on right
segment.
now?
I'll just say this: the segment where he talked about cutting off his hands for Josh Allen. He took it a little too far, and it was 0 to 100 so
Yeah, he
fast.
did.
It was, but
Yeah, he did.
I was
He
still
did. I
laughing.
know.
It was just problematic. I was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, you quit while you're ahead, Dion." But it was fun. I
Yeah.
gotta show love as a comedy writer myself. I have to show love for his willingness to go there, I guess.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, that's where my mind went too immediately. So
as
go watch. No.
Jimmy brought out a different side today, folks. This is a family
Yeah.
show. I'm gonna just blur out Jimmy Ray's face.
Dad's not here. Dad's not here. We
No
can do
dad, no,
whatever we want right now.
you could really feel the
Yeah.
substitute teacher vibe today.
Yeah.
We wheeled in our TV cart and we took you guys to church. Well, that was
Yeah.
school. I ruined
Yeah.
it.
We watched a nice
Took you
little
guys to
video at the
school.
beginning, and then we just hung out for the rest
Takedo
of class.
and Armand, we can never thank you enough for being here. Anybody who popped in, we had a nice. Oh, Jimmy, losers, people who bet the money line on every single Ravens preseason game were
Yeah.
absolutely
Because
shattered yesterday
Sam Cosme made it happen. Yeah.
because of Sam Cosme.
I will say Go ahead.
He Joe Namath. He called a
Yeah,
shot.
he did. Yeah, I think the Ravens are kind of winners at this point because I think just get that out of here. I mean, stop
Yeah,
talking about it.
you
Stop
don't
making it
need
a
that
big deal.
streak. Yeah,
It's just the preseason. Yeah, I think the winners and losers because I'm sure they really, enjoyed it. But the Commanders were ready. They played their starters the whole first half. They were ready to take that down, no matter
yeah.
what Sam Kidd said prior to it. Like he doesn't care about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to get off that back. But
Oh yeah, get it off your back, yeah, and let's see what happens with the Ravens this season. I think they're one of the most wild card teams in the league. They play in such a hard division, so it'll be really interesting to see if they can compete with Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. But in my opinion, I think they're a playoff team.
yeah, I could see it.
Oh,
I could
thank you,
definitely see it.
Takedo. Shouting out Jonathan Mingo, who should be a target late in your fantasy drafts, and Jalen Hyatt, who I
Yeah,
already have
Daniel
in some
Jones played
dynasty
well
leagues.
too.
Dimes looking at people who are preying on the Giants' downfall.
Stop it.
Man, y'all are wilding, bro. I think the Giants are so underrated this year. They're so slept on. I might go bet they're over right now.
I don't know what it is, but I'll bet it with you.
Yeah,
We
let's
could ride
do
it
it
together.
together.
We could ride the Giant season
Are you going to
together.
be my legit football buddy who also believes in Giants? Because McFadden doesn't, Adrian doesn't, Anthony doesn't.
Sure, because I made Giants fans mad last season because I never in the power rankings I never put them as high as they could go.
So let's stand them this year.
So let's stand. I'll stand them
Let's
this
do
year.
it.
Absolutely, they're going to win
Giants
the NFC
fans,
East.
you found your home. Legit
They're going to win
football.
the NFC East. Let's go.
We have your back. Oh, you took it too
Brian
far.
Daboll.
You
Oh,
crossed the line.
I thought that's what we were doing.
Eagles are still rolling.
We'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen.
They've been trash talking the Colts this week in joint practices.
Oh yeah, that's kind
Carry
of
on.
it's so lit.
Jason Kelsey's trying to fight everybody.
I low key think
Uh-oh. Kevin, are you still here? We're still live. All right. We're going to go ahead and end the show here. Kevin Phillip Fox, his computer crashed. So hopefully your team doesn't crash this season as well. Yeah, he's frozen. Get him out of here. Thank you all for tuning in. Armand, Takedo. We'll see you next time, next week. Hopefully we can talk some fantasy like Kevin said. So thank you all very much. Join us for 30 minutes of football tomorrow, Thursday show with Adrian. See you guys.